In this video, I'm going to be answering a question that many of you have asked me, which is how do you buy US Treasuries if you're in Canada? So first of all, let's get started with the two main methods that people use to buy US Treasuries in Canada. So the method that I use is interactive brokers. So you can buy US Treasuries through interactive brokers. You basically just have to go to their bond search tool, which I've actually linked below, search out the Treasury or even the Government of Canada bond that you want to buy, the duration, the yield, and then it will have a corresponding QSIP number. You basically want to take that QSIP number, search it in your account, and then you can buy the treasuries in lots of $1,000. Now, another thing to note here is that if your base currency is the Canadian dollar, you can actually exchange money within the interactive broker's account to US dollars. So basically, before you buy US treasuries, you'd want to exchange the money to US dollars. So you would go into your interactive brokerage account, you would go to the currency exchange, and you would swap however much you want to swap. And basically, this is a better method than doing it through Treasury Direct. This is the method that I use myself because the rate that you're going to get at interactive brokers is just the best rate. It's literally the spot rate plus a tiny commission. So it's really a low way of exchanging money, especially large amounts of money. Another option that you can use is buying through Treasury Direct. So you can create an account with Treasury Direct and you can buy through that process. You don't have to be a US resident to do that. Anybody can create an account with Treasury Direct and then buy. The disadvantages to that is you're not going to have a market to then sell those treasuries. So something like a 20-year treasury bond, then essentially you're not going to be able to sell that. You're going to be stuck essentially waiting until you get to maturity, which would be after 20 years, to get paid back everything. Now, treasury bonds, they actually pay out semi-annually, whereas treasury notes actually pay out at maturity. And basically what that means is when you buy like a 3-month treasury, you're essentially going to get paid back after 3 months when that treasury matures. So what will happen in your interactive brokers account, for example, is you will see the treasury in there, and then after that maturity date, you will see it disappear from your account, and then they will credit that plus obviously the interest that you were due on that 3-month treasury when you bought it at that specific yield. So buying bonds is a little more complicated than buying equities, but basically it's something that I've been doing. I've allocated a significant amount of money to buying bonds, mostly in short-term treasuries, 3-month and 1 year, but I've also allocated 10% now to the 20-year treasury because when you look at the interest rate curve, which is basically the different interest rates that you get for 10-year, 20-year, 30-year, 5-year, all these different treasuries, the 20-year is really paying a great yield. I think I locked in around 5.2%, which I'm really happy with, and I'll happily hold that for 20 years if I have to. But if they do decrease interest rates, which I think is likely, I'll probably end up selling that before the maturity. There's obviously risks associated with buying bonds. Nothing has no risk, and the essential risks that you're looking at is one, currency risk, and that's going to depend on whether you actually plan to convert that money back into Canadian currency, because obviously then you're exposed at both ends to the currency exchange. For example, right now the Canadian dollar is not doing so well, so if you were to exchange a load of money into US dollars, buy US treasuries, and then after they mature just exchange it back, you might actually lose money, or you might actually not make anything. Now that can also work in the opposite way, where you can make even more money doing that, but you just have to be aware of the risks essentially, and your main risk is going to be currency risk. The other risk is that the US government defaults. Obviously we see lots of headlines and the media loves to spin this around that the US government is going to default, and it comes around every time the US government shuts down. But the thing is, guys, if they did default, trust me, your US treasuries that you bought in your interactive brokers would be the least of your worries. Basically, especially the short-term treasuries like the 1-month, 3-month, they are used as forms of collateral for transactions within the financial system. Basically, this is just a fancy way of saying these treasuries are the lifeblood of the financial system. Now, when you get out to the 5-year, the 10-year, the 20-year, even the 2-year, it's a little bit different because they're calculating also what interest rates are going to be over a long period of time, and that will fluctuate and can vary massively, as we've we've seen long-term bond yields that have pushed up significantly. Another risk to make yourself aware of is if they increase interest rates more, that will decrease the value of your treasury, meaning that if you then went to sell it, you would effectively lose money. So that's something that you need to be aware of as well. But obviously, if they cut interest rates, you can also make money. You can sell that treasury before it actually matures and make money. So there's different things that you have to be aware of. Obviously, yields right now are really high historically. Over the past 20 years even, when you look at treasury yields, they are historically high. I personally think it's a good time to buy. That's what I'm doing myself. That's why I'm putting my money where my mouth is and I'm buying, and I've allocated a significant amount of money to bonds, because even though you're not necessarily going to be getting paid what the actual rate of inflation is, it's better than having your money in a bank account earning 2-3%. And you can also put that within a TFSA or an RRSP, buy US government debt, and essentially that's US dollar income that you have, and most Canadians do not have that. And if you believe in the dollar milkshake theory like I do, long term, I believe the dollar is just going to increase in value. A little bit of a different video, but it was highly requested by many of you. If you want to watch one of my other videos, check out this one. Here's a playlist that I also picked out for you there. If you're looking for a VPN to get around Bill C-11 and all the censorship laws that are coming in Canada, the UK, and the United States, go to expressvpn.com/marketmania. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.